Hello and welcome everyone to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the first of a best of 3 here on the map Echo Isles. We are going to be having a human vs undead matchup. This is from the Group D qualifier match from China's WCA 2015. WFZ spawning in as the yellow undead in the top left. He'll be facing off against, spoiler, 2014's WCA Grand Finalist, Infi, the teal human player in the top right. Yes, Infi, one of the 3 humans, unsurprisingly took WCA for himself. He did face off against Yumiko for it, and I believe it went all 5 games. I don't exactly have great memory of this because I didn't actually cast the series, even though I did cast the majority of 2014 WCA. I didn't cast the grand finals because I only had 2 replays, and it seemed rather weird to cast 2 of 5 games, so I just didn't. Anyway, yeah, nothing much really to say, I guess. We're still in the first couple of minutes, so there's not really much that can actually go on either side. I guess we can look at WFZ's start. Seems standard, Tomb of Relics before the graveyard, Archmage versus Death Knight, so like nothing out of the ordinary there. Acolyte killing a pig, probably just going to indicate that Death Knight will visit there soon and maybe summon up a couple of skeletons for himself. So yeah, it doesn't look like anything wacky is going on from either player. I guess that's to be expected since yeah, WFZ nor Infi is known for being really crazy, really random, I guess, is the better adjective. Infi going to start out with the null camp. I was thinking he was going to go for the mercenary camp. He already had his footman there, but seems like he wants to go for the easy one first. Definitely can just go to the mercenary camp afterwards. Acolyte and footman gets themselves ensnared, and it seems like the footman will die first, and I don't think the Archmage was able to get the Acolyte either, so both of those units were taken out by the creep camp, and a little bit of a loss there for Infi, not so much from WFZ since that is just an Acolyte. Infi, I don't know, probably not going to feel too much about that despite losing his very first footman. He has more on the way, I guess. So mercenary camp being started out. Shadow Priest, maybe Berserker. I'm not sure if the Berserker is actually available at the 3-minute mark. Probably isn't. Boots of Speed being picked up for the Archmage. So yeah, I mean, boots not really something that you would see being sold too much. It is definitely just a generic item at that. Death Knight, with only 1 charge left on his rod, is going to move out with a couple of skeletons. Probably not going to find too much, except for an Archmage who would like to throw fireballs at his face. Shadow Priest expending quite a bit of his mana already to take down those 2 fresh skeletons. So yeah, not too good for WFZ. He does have, you know, reasonable amount of experience as he did clear out most of this camp, and he's going to finish it off with this Ogre Mauler. Early tier 2 from WFZ. I probably should have like said that before. I mean, it's to be expected since he did go for a Crit Fiend transition rather than a ghoul focused build. Yikes, that was very close. Footman could have easily taken that Mauler as he was right in front of him, but I think Infi just had him on a move command. Sentry Ward's gonna be picked up by the Ogre Mauler, so I guess that's pretty useful. Early expand coming down from Infi, so no tier 2 for a little while. I'm still so I was hesitating a little bit because I would have thought that the Death Knight maybe would have wanted to place down a ward next to that expansion, but I guess it's just like pretty safe assumption that Infi has gone for an expand. That's strange. I heard a undead building being placed down. Slaughterhouse being placed down for WFZ. I'm surprised I even heard that. I was so far away from the actual location that the sound still went through. Oh well, a little weird. Lich is halfway done. Archmage is going to TP staff it back home to his expand and react to this small attack from WFZ. Not much is going to happen. I guess it was just a cancellation of the tower, or it might have just been a destruction of a tower. Either or, it doesn't really matter too much, I don't think. WC still hasn't placed down the ward. I guess he's just going to place it down when he's absolutely sure he's not going to return for a while. Chip going after the arcane tower once again is going to force the cancel, and yep, good harassment from WFZ, but then again it doesn't really build up into anything too much. Lumber mill being placed down. Tier 2 has started a little whiles back. Sentry ward has been placed down by the Death Knight as well. Not sure if Infi realizes that. He does have the dust, so I guess all that matters is choosing which location the ward is actually at. Troll Berserker gets taken out by the Nova Coil combo from the Lich and Death Knight, so not much value Infi's going to get out of that mercenary. 3 Crypt Fiends versus 5 Footmen and 2 Elementals. Probably not going to be a good matchup for the undead player. Death Coil is going to be used on the Crypt Fiend, which at the same time means it's pretty dangerous for the Lich to be roaming around, as the heal did go to the Crypt Fiend rather than the Lich himself. I have no idea what that scroll was. I believe that was the Tome of Knowledge, or it might have been the Manual of Health. Either one. I really don't like how those 2 tomes in particular are the same color, but it doesn't matter too much. Arcane Tower is going to get taken out once again, not before taking a bit of mana off that Lich. I mean, he only has 1 ability to cast, and it's a fairly reasonably costing ability, I believe. 110 or 120, either or. It seems like the Crypt Fiend is going to get taken out, as the Death Knight didn't actually have any mana left in him, so I guess that was rather unfortunate. Black Citadel halfway there for WFZ. I believe he already has Crypt Fiend, Obsidian Statue number 1, as we can see here. Ward being placed down next to the main base of Infi as well. Keep Tick is done. No Mountain King just yet, unless he is already done, and it doesn't seem like it. So if this altar is not making anything, soon, then I guess WFZ could assume it's going to be a Tavern Hero, but as we all know, as we saw before, Infi is actually just out of lumber, so we have yet to definitively identify which hero it is going to be. Lich very close to level 2, Death Knight also close to level 3 as well, but it doesn't look like he's going to level up compared to his partner there. Potion of Greater Mana, that is going to be very helpful for both the Lich and the Death Knight. Death Knight's most likely going to be the one that uses it, since you'd rather heal your units than just deal damage. Murloc camp being cleared out here for Infi. His Archmage is nearing level 4. I believe he will get it after this particular camp. The item is going to be the Ring of Protection +2, so not a particularly useful item there for the Archmage. Basically not a particularly useful item for any hero, I guess. Mountain King has just started, so Infi, is aware of what hero it is going to be. Tier 3 jump as well for Infi, so that's going to be interesting. Definitely want to know what he wants to go for. Definitely human Tier 3 is, has a lot of variety. Bit of a base exchange from both sides. Not really a base trade, I guess. Just dealing damage to both bases. I guess, I don't know, but it seems like WFZ is gonna lose this one. Of course, there is a predicament where Infi has a second base anyway, so it looks bad either way for the undead player. But it seems like WFZ is the one to push Infi away a little bit. Well, his lich and his army is coming from the right side, so it might just end up being a forced TP scroll from Infi. Unless this is where the human player just dumps all his footmen to try and get as many acolytes as possible. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Destroyers are already in the air. Surprised they're not actually dealing the elementals. Destroyers are really good at that because they can just consume their health for mana. Oh, okay. Infi just killing his own footmen himself rather than tossing them over to the undead base. We're gonna have Tomb of Relics being rebuilt as well. WFZ is up in an acolyte. Surprising. I guess he can just build a shade pit and make himself a shade. Once again, attack on the main base of Infi. Castle Tech is done, so I'm very curious to see what that will end up being. It could just be knights, because we haven't seen anything else. Okay, never mind. Workshops. Oh, workshops. Probably the most bleak of the options there. I guess it's, I don't know, it could be just flying machines, but then again, flying machines don't need castle tech. So yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see what Infi's going to go for. Probably it's not going to be siege engines, but there is always the possibility of anything. It seems like Infi's the one that will force you to use the TP scroll. Not particularly a good TP scroll as well, because that kind of puts all his units like right in the open. But I kind of got confused with the Death Knight's health bar there. I guess that was a pretty good pick for Infi. Just a little unfortunate he wasn't able to fully take him down. Alright. Yeah, that was my bad. I honestly thought that was a really risky TP because most of his units were really low health. So, level 4 Archmage, level 1 Mountain King. I was gonna say the Paladin is on his way. Still, it would be nice to have that Mountain King maybe 2 more levels, but I guess you can't have everything I get. I take it Infi just hasn't been able to farm. That's just it. Workshops are actually upgrading flat cannons there for the flying machines. So it is going to be flying machines. I just don't know what the castle tech is for. I don't exactly remember if flat cannons are part of castle tech or not. Either way, those footmen get absolutely destroyed by those destroyers, as well as the orb of corruption from the lich. Nice pick off with the Stormbolt there, but then again, it is just a Crypt Fiend, so it doesn't matter too much. Infi can't really do anything about those destroyers, except, rely on his guard towers, which, fortunately enough, he was able to take down one of them. But yeah, he lost his flying machines for not really a good reason. Flying machines is not really good in small numbers. Like, that's the pros of flying machines. You can build them up so quickly and in such great numbers. You can actually afford to just not attack until you have a good number. Surprisingly enough, WFZ lost himself his second destroyer by guard towers alone. I am actually very shocked that that happened, but yeah, that did just happen. So there are no destroyers in the air anymore, but I mean, these two can be. Seeing that those flying machines are in there, I guess WFZ is a little hesitant on that one. Magic sentries are on the way. Interestingly enough, WCA doesn't have that many units. He's currently at 38 versus Infi's 48. So it might be a bit troubling there. No TP scroll whatsoever from WFZ either. I have no idea what he is doing, because if Infi chooses to counterattack, then it's WFZ that's gonna be the one in a ton of trouble. Third hero coming out from the undead player. It is gonna be a Dark Ranger. Infi right next to WFZ's base. He could just go after it now. Sacrificial Pit is creating a shade, but you don't need a shade to see this one coming. There is a Nubian tower. There's Spirit Towers on the way as well, but doesn't look like that's going to be enough to deal with this stuff. Flying machines are 1-1 on upgrades, but they have yet to get their flying machine bombs. There we go. I believe flying machine bombs are castle tick, so I guess that kind of justifies tier 3 there. Alright, Death Knight able to pick up the TP scroll from the Myrtle Goblin Merchant, and it is going to force Infi to TP right back home. So a bit of cat and mouse there. I believe Infi did lose a couple of units in transit. I believe a couple of flying machines and a Shadow Priest. Uh-oh, but WC could lose himself a Crypt Fiend. Thankfully he was able to just turn him around in time. Stormbolt did come out, and it actually did land. Fortunately, the rest of the army is there, and Death Coil reaches right before the Stormbolt, so yep. Bit of a couple of mistakes from both sides, but nothing too game breaking, I guess. Although Infi taking out the 2 destroyers were really surprising to me. Dark Ranger applying the black arrows and summoning up those small little skeletons. Not gonna matter too much until it either hits like a reasonable number of skeletons or just level 2 skeletons in general. Mountain King still level 1, but his Stormbolts have proven to be very useful. Knights are in the mix. Alright, so Infi with Animal War trained Knights are going to try and siege this base. The flying machines do have their bombs and they do deal siege damage. Not much siege damage, honestly. 8 to 10, that's pretty abysmal. But I guess it's gonna be good enough, since siege damage will deal, you know, bonus. Unless they start attacking units. WFZ is currently on his way to doing the same as well, but with 4 guard towers, and I guess Infi TPing back home as well, that is going to be a tough nut to crack. Still surprised that Infi chose to TP back home, and I'm surprised that he left a couple of units back at WFZ's base. Splitting your army in this situation is definitely not recommended. Alright, the slow siege begins. Meat wagons should be added to the mix here, and WFZ is indeed going for that. Sacrificial Pit is being rebuilt. Oh no, that's a siege engine, and that is going to be really bad. 2 siege engines for Infi. That looks very grim for the undead player, because even though his meat wagons are on the way, siege engines can still deal a fairly good amount of damage. And as soon as I say that, 2 spirit towers, a couple of ghouls, right enough, right number to push those siege engines away. Infi being really indecisive here. He has 3 knights and a spellbreaker. That should be enough to deal with WFZ's army, especially since it only consists of 5 Crypt Fiends. But I guess the heroes are the bit of a problem. Level 4 Death Knight, level 3 Lich. I believe the Mountain King just hit level 2. So there's not much of a hero advantage there for the human player at all. More spellbreakers being added to the mix. But Infi still not choosing to fight. If he loses that Arcane Vault, he will no longer be able to create spellbreakers. I mean, you can already create, like, in progress spellbreakers, but you can't create any new ones. bit of an awkward spot. WFZ is kind of trapped in this corner here, but Infi's just not choosing to trap him. Okay, here we go with the trap. And I mean, WFZ does have his TP scroll, and I have no idea if he's choosing to just stay and fight or retreat. If he wanted to retreat, I guess he would have just channeled the TP scroll anyway. Frost armor onto most of the undead units. That's gonna really hinder the knights and the Mountain King, but not really the spellbreakers, as they are semi-melee, I guess. Crypt Fiends being storm bolted left and right. I guess with no flying machines anymore, it is a green light for WFZ to start creating those destroyers. Especially since they'll do really, really nicely against those knights and elementals. But a bit of hit and run here from WFZ. He can't really deal with those knights without abominations. It's really hard to just like straight up fight them. So this is why WFZ is kiting them instead. TP scroll going to be used. We are going to have this Crypt Fiend get taken out. Even Holy Light's being used to just damage those undead units. A bit of a problem here for WFZ. Even though he's like right at 50 supply, he is still losing in terms of supply. 78 for Infi, and he has a lot of stuff. Spellbreakers, knights, flying machines for just in case destroyers are in the air. And it seems like Infi is going to start adding in spellcasters as well. That is a very well-rounded comp for himself. I have no idea how Infi... Oh, never mind. He had the flying machines. They were able to spot stealth units as well. It's really good. Like, it's a very much desirable army composition that Infi has here. Plus, when he's facing WFZ, who's not actually an upkeep army, that's just a difficult fight to win if you're the undead player. GG, probably gonna come out. There we go, GG, and that is gonna be game 1 of this very long game and very long series, I guess. Hopefully, I see you guys in the next game. Yeah.